The 88th book that I read in 2023 is The Next 100 Years, A Forecast for the 21st Century by George Friedman. It took about 10 hours to read, and this is an excellent, excellent book. Fascinating book. It was written pre-COVID, so some of his predictions seem a little off because it didn't take COVID into account. But he admits at the end of the book that two things he didn't take into account are pandemics and global warming, because he feels like humans will figure out a way to deal with both of those issues. The first half of the book is fascinating because of who he names, what countries he names as the next world powers. And it's not who you would think it would be. It's Poland and Turkey and Japan. He believes those three nations are going to be critical to the 21st century, and there's good reason, and he has good justification as to why in the book. Then in the middle of the book, he gets into Mexico and how its economy is going to be strengthened, and how even though the United States will still be the powerhouse of North America, Mexico is going to catch up to the United States in a lot of ways. And then the final part of the book sounds a little bit out of Star Wars, but I'm really convinced that he's right. But he talks about how the next wave of Cold War will be waged in space, and he talks a lot about battle stations, which I couldn't help but think about the Death Star in Star Wars, which isn't, of course, what he's talking about. He's not talking about some planet large thing that can move across the universe, but he's talking about battle stations that can actually house armies of men, and how the United States will stay in power because of their ability to get more battle stations up into space than other countries. It's just a fascinating book. He admits over and over and over again that there's no way all of his predictions will come true, but at the same time, he also says that at the beginning of the 20th century, you could have predicted things like major world wars. You just might not have been able to predict exactly who was on each side of those major world wars. So things like that. You could have predicted that America was going to become a superpower at the beginning of the 20th century. So really, really good book. Fascinating. One of the best books I've read all year, and I highly recommend it. I would give it an A+.